Meeting's being recorded, and if anybody is recording it, they need to let us know. Thank you. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that can gather in one place. This meeting of the Board of Health will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation can be found on the Office of the Attorney General's webpage. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted. Draft minutes will be posted on the town's website as soon as possible after the meeting. Pursuant to Mass General Law, in an emergency, a public body shall post notice as soon as reasonably possible prior to the meeting. Notice shall be printed in a legible, easily understandable format and shall contain the date, time, and place of the meeting and a listing of topics that the chair reasonably anticipates will be discussed at the meeting. Hi, Joe. Okay, so let me give Sue a call and see what's going on. I know she knew there was a meeting. Okay, fine, we'll wait. I just read the opening thing, so. Okay, that's fine. We'll wait 2 minutes. Not big deal. Okay. She's logging in now. I'll wait for her because I wonder if she has anything with the last 2 minutes or two. Jean, did you have any corrections that we needed to do on the minutes for the last two meetings that Jessica has taken care of?
Yes, I sent my corrections to Jessica and she did correct it. It was just a couple little tiny minor things.
Okay, well, let's wait for, well, Jess, are you all set with the minutes? She's muted. Okay, let's just wait.
Sorry. Yeah, I am all set. I couldn't get back to the screen. I am all set with the minutes. Yep.
Okay, so let's wait for Sue so she can chime in. Nice beard, Joe. Here you go. Hi, Sue.
Okay, I'm here. Hi. Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
Were you able to look at the minutes from the last two meetings?
Yes. Well, it was the last meeting
Yeah.
or last, you and Jean accepted them.
Okay, and are you all set with
Yeah,
the,
so I looked at the, Jessica, you resubmitted them and got the date straight. Yes, I looked at them.
okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes? for
Well,
last
the only
meeting?
thing that was
Okay.
different was, wait a minute,
I'm sorry.
was Kate's poem.
Oh,
Did-
yes.
Yeah, I need a copy of that.
Can we put it in the, do you want to put it in the minutes or do you want to put it in our town report?
Well,
No,
I think the town report would be nice, and you can also put it in the minutes too. You're
Okay.
not gonna hurt. What do you think, Jane?
Well, the annual town report was supposed to be in by Monday. So Tammy, have you done that yet?
Have you looked at it?
It's not finished.
Okay.
So
make
when
sure-
when you do finish it, can you just send an email to us?
Yes.
So we can look at it? I don't think anybody reads it anyways, but
and
maybe if we put the poem in, maybe people will read it.
okay, do you want to leave it out of the minutes and put it in the minutes? What's your?
Doesn't matter, whatever Jessica wants to do.
Okay, let's just put it in town report so it'll be there.
But
Leave it there.
is Kate around? Will we be able to get it from her? Or she,
I have her. She sent it to me in an email.
okay,
Okay,
Yeah,
put it in
no,
town
she's
report
on. She's on the airplane right now, coming back.
as we speak.
okay, all right.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes? Last meeting,
I make the motion then.
okay, second,
No.
Jerry, yes, Jean,
Yep.
Sue?
Yep.
Okay, Public comments, Mr. Mogul, Mr. Didi, anything you want to talk about? Public concerns you?
Everything concerns me, but I have nothing to talk about.
How about you, Doug?
I'm actually getting to my office right now, so I'll dial back in, but no comments under public comment.
Okay, so I'll reserve public comment if anybody else comes in, wants to say anything. Jessica, your public comment, you have anything?
No, thank you.
Okay. Health Director's report, Madam Director.
Okay, so I just want to apologize and clarify that I think I made a mistake about with the budget. On our first meeting of January, when you guys voted to increase Kate to 3,000 and level fund everything else, I thought that was the go ahead to go ahead and put in that budget. And I had last week's meeting, I had asked, are you sure? And you guys said, no, go ahead with that. So I thought that was an approved method. I didn't realize you needed to look again at the actual copy.
I would like to,
That was my fault. And also I realized I didn't send the right budget. I sent.
I mean, we can always
Because I-
put your salary down to what it was, and, you know, if you want to cut.
I didn't realize that I didn't do it the way last year, and I totally apologize for that. That was me. And
Okay, so.
okay, can I ask a question? So because I printed out the budget and I wanted to go over it because I didn't quite understand it. So that's not correct.
it's not correct. So I filled out that same form, and it's the only thing that's different is you guys had approved 3,000, bumping Kate from $1,000 to 3,000. So that puts her from 50 hours to 75. And everything else was level funded.
But wasn't this budget, they had requested a 5% reduction on all the line items?
Joe?
Yeah, we usually ask for a -5 level funded, and I think +5, and we always seem to be at the level funded in the end. Certain departments fill it out completely. Certain departments done in crayon. So it's all over the map. You know, if and all they do, I believe on your world, is just go into -5 and run it down, and it is what it is. I don't think we have ever.
No, you never cut us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, there were some items in like the Concom budget where we have to pay an annual dues, and we couldn't take that 5% reduction. So there are certain line items that I wouldn't do the 5% reduction on and just do a level funding.
Okay, so Tammy, why don't you do it for the next meeting and send it to us?
What?
Get the budgets with the level funded.
The correct one. Yeah, the correct one.
I think in the 5% reduction.
Yeah,
No.
So,
Can we just level fund, period?
okay, I'm fine with that. Jean, are you fine with that?
Yeah,
Okay, just send it to us level funded and
Level-
we'll vote on it
except
at the
for-
next meeting.
Except for that increase for Kate,
Okay? All right,
right?
but you want to see it. Is that right?
Yeah, I'd like to see what it looks like. Is
Okay,
it possible that,
I can do it in the morning. I didn't realize it wasn't this year's.
Tammy,
Sorry.
just send it to us?
Yeah.
How's that, in the email?
okay, so what you want is to have her send it to us and we can look at it. And we can vote tonight that if we have any objections, that we can discuss them at the meeting, but if we're okay with it, we'll just tell Tammy to go ahead and submit it.
Yes,
Is that okay with you, Jean?
yes.
Okay, so if we have any changes, then we can do. Okay,
we
Tammy?
can let Tammy know, otherwise,
Yeah, just send it to us and you'll hear from each of us.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Nobody has any objections, but I think Jean had a good point about that line item that we can't reduce. So if you have any questions, if you know about that.
no.
Okay.
you
so we
talking
don't have
about?
to Talk to Jean, and so we don't have to go through it again. Which one is it, Jean? What's the line item?
No, Jerry, I was talking about the conservation
Oh,
budget that
okay.
I do.
Okay, all right. So we don't
Just
have
as
any
an
of those.
example.
Okay, all right. So just send us both to us and then we'll bat it around. If we like it, then when's the finance committee meeting?
May? It's late in the year, right? I feel like it was more.
used to be in February, used to be the beginning of
It used to
February.
be.
Mm.
Doug, you know
I
when the
feel like
finance
it was a really
committee's
long
meeting?
time ago.
March 6th and March
20th.
Okay, so.
Okay,
we
that's
have-
not May. Sorry, guys.
That 20th may change because I believe Carl has potentially a conflict on that date. So we might move it in. It might be the 6th and the 13th. I don't know. I have
Okay.
to confer with
Well, we have
the
time
chair
then,
of the
so
finance.
Okay, so we have time to see it at the next meeting, because it doesn't have to be in until March, whatever. So why
No,
don't,
No. They were due
No,
because
it's
they've
late.
got to make the
Alright.
budget books. You were
Yeah.
late.
okay, so
We're
we'll do
late.
it the way we said the first time. Just send it to us tomorrow and we'll get back to it.
And we'll go with it.
Okay, Jean?
Yeah.
Okay, much better, because I was totally confused on what was in, what
Well,
you
I
said.
thought we were saving $10,000 on the director's salary, so, I said, heck.
I know, I'm thinking, wow, good.
No,
We can't do that. She can't even have heat in her house as it is.
All right,
Hey, and when the office and work, there's heat there.
Ah, you caught my motive.
You can move to Southwick.
There you go.
and then I had to rush home to find all of the supplies because tomorrow's crazy hat day. So I'm
Is-
setting up my laptop yelling, "Where's the glue?"
do you have a furnace guy coming?
Oh, my stepfather apparently is fixed it. That's what I could hear them outside the door whispering.
Okay, all
All
right.
they had to do.
Okay, why don't you move on with your report?
Well, luckily the house is only 500 square feet, so,
748.
there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 candles and some bourbon, she'll be warm.
Yeah. Health Director's report for February 4th, 2021. I write this down on every time I do it. I don't know why. I witnessed two new perk tests. One at the Greens East, doesn't have an address yet, and one that I just left at Sodom Mountain Road. Both are, like I said, new properties. Did a final inspection.
So one is the golf course and the other is up on the mountain.
Yeah. A lovely 5 hours on the mountain in the cold this afternoon. I was like rushing to get back here for this meeting. There was
Crappy soil.
the soil's not bad. The rocks were. It's a lot of ledge, but we found a couple spots and it worked.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah, it was okay. This week and last week have been really meeting heavy, webinar heavy, training heavy weeks. Today we had the Hampden County Health Coalition meeting. We also had at 10 o'clock, we had the Hampden County Health Coalition. At 11 o'clock, we had the FEMA Public Assistance Vaccination meeting. At 12 o'clock, we had the PVPC affiliates meeting with Hampden and Hampshire County partners to discuss vaccine. There's been a variety of webinars on immunization and the prep mod trainings for the clinics, as well as continuing to have the twice weekly public health interagency conference calls. And last week I started having, we're going to start calling ourselves the Vaccine Task Force meeting every Wednesday to kind of hash out the things that we need for when we finally get some vaccine.
and when,
Who's on that task force? Is it all the towns or?
No, it's just myself, a police chief, fire chief, Mr. Moglen, Carl, Kate.
Okay, so just town people, okay.
Yeah, just sort of, oh, and Cindy Sullivan from the Council on Aging.
how many vaccine doses have we requested from the state?
We can only request, I'll let you know, hold on, just a minute. So, Monday, February 1st, all the towns that did not have a first responder clinic
That's awful.
were allowed to receive the survey to do the request for vaccines. So Kate actually didn't get it, but by like noon, we had harassed enough people and she was able to get the survey. And all towns are only allowed to request 100 doses. The response email, I'm not sure if I have it, but the response email also said that while you're requesting 100 doses, it is more than likely that most people will not see them right now.
What do you mean, see them right now?
This round, no, not many people will.
They're not going to the towns.
Not going to the town. The towns that are getting them, it seems, had already had a first responder clinic set up. So, and at my health coalition this morning, there were some towns that like Ludlow and West Springfield that were going to be getting doses because they did get their phone calls this week, which we did not. So I'm assuming that means we're not getting doses this week.
Did you try to explain to the bureaucrats that we have vaccinated our first responders?
No, but we did not technically stand up a clinic under the banner of the town.
All right, never mind.
It doesn't.
Bang in my head.
There's not that much this week to go around anyway, so they're not anticipating anybody, not that many people actually getting them. So it was nice to be able to air some grievances and ask some questions. The state had today arranged through Pioneer Valley Planning Commission some of the bigger wigs and people in charge to actually meet one-on-one with the health departments in Hampshire County and Hampden County, and it was kind of helpful because a lot of people really don't understand. A lot of people from Boston don't understand what it's like out here and how Eastfield Mall is a 40-minute drive from Southwick. It's, that's considered our Western Mass location. And so they're sort of aware of that and some of the other things, and that we wanted to clarify. We still don't know, so if we're only allowed to do 100 doses per week, does that mean that we get 100 doses right now? And then, in a couple weeks from now, do we get 200? So we continue to have clinics and also have second dose clinics? And that was not answered either. It does feel like even though we gain a little bit of information every day, it still feels like we're very much in the dark. But
it's a terrible.
I will say,
wow.
Talking to other towns, we're way ahead of them. Many of our Hampden County partners, our planning has been way ahead. Many of them didn't even know how to sign up for certain agreements and things that I had already done before Christmas. So when they tell us it's time, I know we'll be prepared and I know we'll be able to do it.
Who would we get to? Who would we get to administer the vaccine?
So we have the way we're planning it is 4 nurses at a time. So Kate, the Southwick Towns Regional School District has hired some floaters, and they are more than willing to loan us out. The governor approved our EMTs and our paramedics. So Chief Anderson has offered up those to give them. So we won't be at a loss. And then there are some, I have, through my contacts with the MRC, I have some pre-credentialed people to help out. I don't think we're going to need a whole lot of staff for these that we haven't already identified yet. There's so many people who who really have stood, just everybody's help, everybody coming forward has been so great that I know, I know it's gonna be a lot of work, but we're gonna be able to do it. And after, I think the first one will be a big learning experience. And then
it's a shame you have to go all through this and we only get 100 doses.
A week.
A week.
A week.
We're going to set everything up and go through all this. It's too bad we don't get 300 doses at once.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't see. And then talking to some of the towns. So Palmer has teamed up with 7 towns, and they still only will get 100 doses. So it almost is making it, it doesn't make sense almost to team up with towns if you're going to only still get 100 doses. It kind of boggles me, which they did bring up to the state today in our meeting, but
They don't care.
and hopefully they can rectify that, but I will.
So one thing, the Board of Registration and Dentistry has allowed dentists to administer the COVID vaccine in the course of their practice. So if you know a dentist, when you go to your dentist, you can ask him if he's going to give his patients the vaccine. So that may be a way. At least I think I'm correct. At least that's the notice we got.
Oh, too
I
bad,
can't.
Jerry.
And he's
I
not giving
wanted
it to you in the gums though, right?
No, I
Just to
wanted
be
to-
clear, right? I want
wanted
to
to-
make sure they do it the right way.
No, I wanted to volunteer to go to a clinic and give the shots because, it take,
Yeah.
how long is it going to take me to learn how to, give a shot in the arm?
You'll be on my standby list.
Anyways, but they only, at least the way I read the notice from the Mass Dental Society is that only in the course of your practice. So, I mean, unless you want to come to my basement, but, that's one way, at least the way I read it. So anyways,
We won't have a shortage of vaccinators.
okay, that's
No,
fine.
we
I
won't.
just was gonna
Just
volunteer.
out of curiosity, what's the plan for Granville and Tolland? Does anyone know?
Tom's, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, so Granville and Tolland early on in the pandemic withdrew from our agreement to be a regional emergency dispensing site. So because they wanted, I think it's the same thing, if you're separate, maybe you'll get more. So since that's happened, there's been no contact.
Yeah, Tom's still trying to find a nurse to, if they get any doses to administer it.
Yeah.
So you may get a call from him to see if you can get somebody.
Tammy, have you or the senior center already scheduling some type of sign up thing?
No. So, I did not ask the sign up list to be made, or not sign up list. I did not ask them to make this list, but they themselves have started a list to call back people to let them know when vaccine's available. It is not a registration list and it's not getting people faster. On last Friday, I went on Code Red and said the next thing that will happen is that a Code Red message will go out and that'll be open. But Cindy will be there. Cindy Sullivan will be available for those people to aid them. And we're trying to find other ways to aid them to be able to sign up. And tomorrow, I believe officially the 1-800 number will go up so that there will be a 1-800 number attached to our clinics to help people sign up for them. I'm, keeping my fingers crossed that this is a successful thing, but if it's not, we will be able to help people. One of the things we're talking about is maybe staffing a phone for so many hours a day after we announce the clinic. Jessica said she'd be available to do that. Both the senior center staff have gone through the training for the website. Kate and I, as school nurses staff. So there won't be any shortage of people who will be able to help. And then I've kind of talked to some people who on the side, want to help people in their churches and whatnot, find and sign up. And even the library is offering not to help you sign up, but to give you time if you want to go online there. And they've made little forms out, like which website to go on, how to fill it out and things like that. So there's been lots of different things kind of floating in the air on how we're going to accomplish the signups, because it will be the hardest community to sign up will be the 75 and over. Just,
And that's what we're going to be doing first, right? 75.
yeah, that's what we have to do first.
I thought it included people with dual underlying health.
75 is first.
Oh,
75
I'm
is first.
Yeah,
5 and two comorbidities is second.
yeah,
oh,
65 and 2, yep. Or
oh,
2,
sorry.
soon.
So therefore it should be made clear then that anybody under 75 shouldn't be clogging up the lines calling.
Yeah.
Well, that'll go out in the code red, I assume.
Pardon?
It's gonna have to, because I said that I would.
Yeah, and 100 doses, are we gonna
It's gonna go
throw
fast.
all 100 in an arm, or are we gonna throw 50 and keep 50?
No, it's when you get 100, that is your 100 for your first dose.
So we're assuming that we're gonna get 100
Yes.
each week, and then when the
Not
three,
100 each week, but we're assuming that no, we will at least get that second dose. The second dose.
so you're sure the second dose for the first people?
Yeah, they do not want us hoarding any.
I understand that, but what I'm saying
It really
is,
it
is it
really
3 weeks in
screws up
between shots?
everything.
Is it 3
What?
weeks? Is it 3 weeks in between shots?
Yeah, 3 to 4, 21.
Okay, say 4. So
We don't know which one we're getting, do we? Hopefully we're getting,
The only one that I have submitted for is for Moderna because we don't have the Pfizer capabilities.
okay, so let's just,
oh, because I think
Game this.
Pfizer is better for elderly.
can I finish
Yeah.
up first? So we'll get 100 the first week. We'll get 100 the second, we'll get 100 the third, but then we need 200 on the fourth because those people who got it the first week are gonna be due the fourth week, right?
And we don't know whether or not we'll be able to do 2 clinics on a 4th week because
So you're gonna have to do the people who got their first shot.
we might only be able to do the second dose.
So until you get everybody vaccinated the second time, you can't do anybody else.
Probably. It's a possibility.
And that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay,
So when they get their first dose, you give them a card and everything, sign up. This is when you have to come back in 4 weeks.
Yes, and during one of the meetings today, East Long Meadow was telling us how sorry, where did my meeting go?
so basically every 4 weeks you do 400 people and then you gotta repeat the cycle.
Yeah.
Unless you get
So
more
what-
vaccine.
So at the end of the last thing they do before they leave is they have the laptop out. So we're gonna have laptop at registration and then laptop at the end, and then at the end we will go and register you for the next dose.
Isn't the state sending vaccinations to their sites, and are they going to the pharmacies too? Or they just, how's the
Should be.
state rolling them out? Do we know?
Should be going out to a whole bunch of different places now. I know like Westfield CVS received it.
Okay,
Stop and Shops, there's some of them.
the Stop and Shop has some, so there are other
Yeah,
places for people to go.
Big Y. So if you go on the state's website now, it's almost a little bit easier where
They give you a zip code and then they tell you.
yeah, and you can find those in the locations. But this, the message still, you should be also able to go to your primary care provider and ask for some sort of help. And I think it's kind of, when you hear there are, primary cares aren't doing anything to help people, this is your health and your well-being. It should be something that your doctor is concerned with. And some have been helpful, and I guess some have not been. And, we try when like Karen calls up or Karen answers the phone and try to make suggestions of where to go. And the senior center has also been helping out too. So this is, it's not going to be a small feat to do this particular population, but it'll get done. It will get done.
Tell me if I'm wrong. We're only going to be able, in 6 weeks, we're only going to be able to vaccinate 300 people. Because the first week, people are going to get vaccinated again, the 4th.
That's correct.
It's going to be the 5th, and the 3rd's going to be so every 6 weeks, we can vaccinate 300 people.
That's if we only get 100 doses a week.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not very,
Honestly, I feel like that's probably what our capacity's at. Look, if we're going to keep our other departments going and everything like that, 1 day a week, it really seems to me to be, as a town of our size, that seems to be the amount that I think we could really do.
Well, I think that if we get 1,000 doses, then we should get enough people in there to give 1,000 doses out. If we have to stay open 7 days a week to do it. You know.
But
close
there
it.
are other ways that people can get the vaccine. That's
I understand that, but if we get more doses, we should put them in people's arms as soon as we can. If that means staying open an extra day, then we should stay open an extra day. You know, and
I don't think that's going to be our problem up front from everything I've heard from
don't
Tammy.
disagree.
And I
don't
think,
disagree.
and sorry for speaking out of turn,
Yeah.
Dr. Asia, but I think that in talking to Tammy about this, if we got 100, that'd be fantastic because we can really get our feet wet, right?
Yeah,
And
okay.
and get good at it. And then if it turns into repetitive 100 doses, maybe we'll figure out how that goes. And then if it ratchets up from there, then we decide how to go. And there's going to be, and Tammy and I were talking about this too. There seems to be everybody and their brother wants to get into the vaccination business and now you mentioned dentists tonight. I'm practically figuring out pulling to Shibeli's and they're going to stick me in the arm while I'm putting gas in the car, right? So
Well, now we
everybody's
get
going to be able to
something
give them out. So you're going to have a myriad of places to go. So that it's going to take some of the pressure off the town itself to do it, but we're going to be, available to do it. And, giving Tammy all the resources she needs to run it. And if we start with 100 or 50 or even 30, right, it'll be a good first step to practice to get good at
I
it.
don't disagree.
I think that we're more likely to get larger supplies probably as the months go on.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's a bad thing because, if we do start getting more of something like say 300, then we could start doing, and now that means we're more into the general public category where it would be easier to do a drive-through or that sort of thing. It not where right now we really, with the 75 and over, the chances that they were going to fall into the 30-minute observation period are really great. So if you don't really, if you don't have if you don't have certain health issues and you're not on certain medication, you just have to stay 15 minutes and you leave. But if you do, you have to spend 30 minutes. So that's where like the bottleneck is going to be, I think, with the 75 and over group. Whereas if we're talking about the general public, we probably wouldn't have so much of that. So we can do higher throughput.
We haven't got one dose yet, so let's wait till we get our doses.
Well, according to my calculations,
And what are we going
in 6.5 years, we'll be
Yeah.
able to vaccinate everybody for the first time.
Yeah.
But it's going to be logarithmic when you start looking at the availability of the vaccine as they build capacity. So yeah, everyone's doing that math of, we're going to be, we'll all be dead by the time everyone's vaccinated, but it's not like that. The vaccine's going to, the volumes are coming in and then it's going to ramp and it's going to go from, what I think we got 1 million shots in so far total in the state. Is that the right number that I heard? Or close to it?
I think it's close to it.
Yeah, so there's 1 million done already, but it's
that's
been in a
20%.
month, right? We need to be, on a national level, we need to be about 5x that in a day, right? So it needs to get, the volume needs to come in and they're working to get in that.
Okay, let's move on.
No, I have another question.
Go ahead.
Where are we going to set the clinic up?
For now, the Council on Aging, only because with the issues that we had with the senior citizens going to the auditorium when we did the special elections, it was a lot harder for them to navigate going so far from their cars.
Do they have enough room to keep people?
Yeah, I was in when I remember going down there and we had to get a wheelchair because some people just could not even walk back to their cars. So I had talked to Cindy Sullivan and she was like, I want them to come in here. We'll rearrange, like they have the online dance classes and things. So they'll rearrange their schedule and
They'll come in one way, register, then wait their turn, get shots, and then they're going to set the chairs up 6 feet apart in a room.
Yeah,
Then they'll
probably
go out
the
another way.
fitness room. We'll do the fitness room. Kind of similar to the flow for how the election went. And we have all these great like plexiglass things from the election that were made for it. So that's even better that it's already all there. So we can set it up pretty easy. Kate and I kind of already went over a drawing of the flow for it, but if we're only going to do 16 an hour, so that's really not, that's not gonna, hopefully gonna be any.
It takes one day.
What?
It'll take one day.
Let's take one day. We can do 112 a day if that was.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know a friend of mine lives in Connecticut and he lives in Suffield and he had registered in Norwalk, which is downstate. And then he was
Norwalk or Norwich?
Norwalk. That's
Okay.
down in the north. That's
Right,
in
I
the
thought they were doing it in
southwest corner. And because he's got diabetes or whatever, so he got registered, and then he was able to get registered in Waterbury. So he canceled the Norwalk one because Waterbury's closer. And then 3 days later, he heard from someplace in Suffield, which was 5 minutes from his house. So Connecticut, I think, has rolled out their vaccine a little quicker. But the people are willing to drive wherever they have to do to get a shot in their arm. You know, at least most people. So, and okay, I'm done. Sue, you have any other questions for Tammy about the?
How about you, Jane?
Jane?
I'm fine.
Okay, Tammy, anything else?
Yeah, the governor announced that they're lifting the capacity restriction this week, but that the gathering limits will still stay at 10 indoors, 25 outdoors. And so that means that we're back into phase 3, step 1 of the reopening plan.
So what do you mean capacity? If we're
What?
still doing, if we're still keeping the 10 and the 30 or 25, so what do you mean capacity?
The restriction, they put the 25% restriction that they put on since right around Christmas, I believe.
Okay, so what is it now? What is it now?
25% capacity.
Oh, I thought that's what it was.
No, that's it. No, that was just the temporary restriction was 25%. But each individual sector has their own restrictions. And some don't have restrictions, like restaurants.
Okay.
Yeah. So it'll go back to what it was pre-Christmas.
So they have to be 6 feet apart or whatever.
The same thing.
Okay.
That will all go back from what before Christmas, but the gathering order is still going to be in place of 10 indoors, 25 outdoors. So no baby showers. Unless there's 10 people, I guess. There was something else. Oh, sorry. And then Kate gave me the numbers. So right now we are at a total of 430 cases for the pandemic, with 64 total positives in the last 14 days. We're higher than we were last week. Last week we were at 5.24%. Now we're at 7.19% positivity, which puts us back again higher than Hampden County, because Hampden County is at.
How did the schools go back today?
What?
How did the
Yeah,
schools-
and then they closed down again.
Just high school
Just the high school. Yeah.
The high school closed down,
again.
but the Powder Mill is in.
Powder Mill and Woodland are both in.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. No cases in either of those two
So
schools.
while we're talking about that, I got a call from Doreen Goyette, and they were going to have a Democratic town committee meeting, and they asked me to attend, to go. They had some questions. Well, what the question was, I found out on Wednesday, it was yesterday. I never answer social media, but my wife showed me some comments that the Board of Health was responsible for opening or closing. I'm just telling you what was out there. Closing and opening the schools. So I corrected that. And I said that the state early took away any input from the Board of Health on opening and closing the schools. So it's my understanding that Dr. Willard sent a letter out saying that in consultation with the Board of Health, meaning that what I said is that we just give her the numbers and the decision is up to them, I think. Is that correct, Tammy?
Yes, we received many phone calls after
Okay,
that email. I did contact Dr. Willard and asked her to revert the language back to her previous language,
thank you.
which said
So,
in consultation with the safety committee and not with
yeah,
the.
so I made it perfectly clear to the, because that was all their questions. And I told them, actually, I was glad that they didn't leave it to us, because half the people would be mad at us if we opened them, and half the people would be mad at us if we closed them. So I said, we're not, we get the numbers from the state, Dr. Willett gets the numbers from us. And then they decide with their memorandum of agreement with the union, who opens, who closes, and we don't have anything to do with it. So
And
I
there are
defended my
times where,
board.
yeah, and there are times where Kate and I looked over the data and did make recommendations above and beyond. Like after Thanksgiving, we had both felt that the data and there was no way we weren't going to have a spike the week after. But that was in,
Yeah, so one thing, Sue and Jean, I
No.
hope you weren't upset with me that I didn't call you and ask you if it was okay if I went.
Can't hear you. I can't hear you.
I said I want to apologize if I didn't call you up and ask you if I could go and answer questions from the
What?
Democratic Town Committee. I probably should have called you each.
Is it going to be Zoom?
I did it already. They
Oh.
Zoomed it. It was yesterday.
Was it a Zoom meeting?
It was a Zoom meeting, yes. They were very friendly. So they found out I wasn't running. So that was that.
They're not going to invite you anymore.
Don't invite me. It's okay. My heart won't be broken. It's okay. So, but one other thing, they're going to come in front of us. There's an environmental group that wants to discuss the use of pesticides in town. I don't know if the select board they've gotten to you guys yet. I offered if she wanted to come tonight, but they weren't ready. So we can anticipate that, Tammy, you're going to get a call. I can't remember the lady's name. Put her on the agenda and let her come in and speak to us about pesticides in town. So
Is that on top of the snow or after the snow?
I'm just a messenger here. She asked me and I said, you can come into the meeting and talk to us, whatever you want to talk to us.
Is it pesticides that the public uses or pesticides that the
I
town
didn't
uses?
ask her any questions
Okay.
about what their group was about, who was in their group, what they wanted to do, or how they wanted to do it. I just said, you can call my health director and she'll put you on the agenda and we can talk whatever you want to talk about. That basically, I think that was probably the right thing to do. So we can't.
Oh,
keep-
maybe bugs will get COVID.
Maybe bugs. Maybe my cat will get COVID.
No.
Anyway, so that was that. Okay, let's move on. Tammy, go ahead.
That's it.
Okay, Peter, any
Wait a
questions?
minute. Gary, wait
Yeah.
a minute. So other than COVID, any other housing inspections or anything going on this week or any other complaints? Past 2
Well,
weeks?
lots of complaints, but not about things that I can do about.
Which
know-
are?
I can't change the governor's orders. I'm not in charge of the school committee. Those sort of phone calls that we get all day
You
long.
didn't get a call from a renter said they didn't have any heat in their house or anything like that?
No. Oh, I forwarded a complaint on what I believe is probably an illegal accessory building with a wood burning stove to the building department. And that's about it.
Okay.
Okay, Tammy, you are going to send out the annual town report when it's ready before you submit it. So the board members can look at it, okay?
Yes.
And we'll,
Yes,
and we'll get the budget tomorrow.
yes.
Will it be the same format that we've used in the past, or are you going to
I think my
change it up a little bit?
thing froze.
Rose?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Joe, anything? No? I heard you did a good deed and plowed out the town, was it DPW?
Grange.
Oh, okay, there you go. Doug?
Anybody would do it, though. It's just a guy that had a few minutes on his hands, right? That's all it is.
Dougie, you have any questions for us?
No, I don't.
Comments? Nothing?
Tammy's doing a spectacular job.
Okay.
Oh, Jessica, do you have the list of what's left?
Oh,
Yes.
don't hang up.
Yes.
Jean, did you look at the list of restaurants and?
Yes,
permits?
very nice. Did you get it, Jean?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
So I'm looking at the restaurants. So which ones had reduced seating, so therefore reduced pricing?
There was only about 5 of them. Hold down. Daily Grind was one. I don't know where my little pink paper went with those. There was only a handful. Red Riding Hood's Basket, Daily Grind. Maybe Tucker's.
Roma and Village.
No.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Wouldn't by definition, if you cut the capacity to 25% or lower, they were closed, by definition, cut their capacity for the
Yes,
purpose of calculating this?
yes.
No,
So
no.
everyone-
So the reason why they have less seats is not a capacity restriction. It's whether or not this tables can be 6 feet apart.
It's kind of both too, isn't it?
No. The 25% is only for January, the month of January to this week.
Right.
That was the only time
We
we've
went into
been.
Hash
But,
House.
but I
and-
would say, wouldn't any let me rephrase my question, because I understand what you just said too. But wouldn't any restaurant have had to have moved tables and lost capacity in order to stay in business based on the distancing rules that didn't exist prior? Like
Some did-
even like Roma's, I'm thinking Gristmill Cafe is a no-brainer, but even Tucker's, I know when I would go there for lunch and I could, comb the person's hair behind me prior to the pandemic, you obviously can't do that now, right? So they lost at least a few tables in shuffling it around, and just using them as an example. So I don't think there'd be a restaurant that wouldn't be affected by the distancing rules from that definition.
I
some
agree.
some were not. Some were not because of the having
Other rooms.
by having booths. They were not. 6 feet is really not as far as most people think apart.
The only one I can think
You know?
of that stayed at full capacity was Hash House, because she put up
Yeah.
plexiglass in between each of her tables, booths. But I know Village had to cut their capacity down in half because they weren't 6 feet apart. So I agree with Doug that we can assume that every restaurant, and I looked at the fees, and we're not talking about a lot of money. I just thought that it would be a good gesture to do it. And I said I was surprised, and maybe because they were split up, food here and something here and tea here and number of dishes here, but they all weren't added up there. You had different restaurants at different fees at different times. But I still think it would be a good idea to refund at least some of the fees, even if it's $50 or half of the, because they've gotten killed. And they're gonna, you know what? They're gonna stay killed. Even when people get vaccines in their arms, they're still not, people are gonna change their habits. At least that's my thinking. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think they deserve some consideration, and it's not a lot of money. It's just a small gesture, And I think we should do it. The other, you two can,
What are you thinking as an amount?
well, I thought maybe, 50% of what their fees were. It's not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. It's not the liquor fee, which is,
But it adds up.
Why didn't we do this before October?
Well, we didn't do it because we weren't asked to do it. So
You
I
were
did
asked to do
We're
it
asked to do it.
by me. I
And
begged you.
And we said no. Okay, so
Yes.
I changed my mind. Okay, so I'm brought it back up again. So I was out and about town and I was educated and I changed my mind. So
Okay,
I'm
my
bringing it
thought
up.
is, this is my thought. We leave the fees as they are, and then this coming December, we send out a note and take out a certain percentage.
That'll be up to you two.
Make
you
up
wanna-
for this past year.
That'll probably be easier. Gene, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Sue, but I don't think we can wait till December because Jess, I think, sends out the renewal notices in the beginning of November or something.
Yeah,
Okay, whenever she sends it out.
And we reduce it by a certain percentage.
Well, we got to figure out a percentage. What
We
point?
don't have to figure out that percentage tonight, though.
Okay, well, you two will do it after I, at some point. Okay, that's fine.
What do you
Okay.
think, Tammy?
I guess it all depends on what you guys agree on, because at the last meeting we discussed this. We had talked about me finding out who thinks that they deserve to pay less and then taking it off the next year's.
I think that we should just do it across the
So
board.
maybe
Eat it for 1 year and then,
We-
I think the loss to the general budget is minuscule compared to the public relations that we'll get out of it.
But
Doug,
if you
Joe,
think
what do you
about
think?
a restaurant that's been in business, that's lost thousands of dollars, and we're going to give them 50.
Then don't do it. Don't do it. I mean, I didn't think the fees were that high. I just was saying that I think it's just a good gesture. That's all. It's not, Joe, Doug, is this going to affect the budget? A whole bunch?
No, I don't think so. And I think it's more the gesture. And then come November, when you guys redo your applications again, people are still going to be having a hard time. Absolutely. And maybe it's a better gesture then, because then when they're going to be bitching that they got to pay all these fees again, lo and behold, Board of Health took a little percentage off and made it a little easier for them.
The goodwill is worth it by itself.
It is. And they appreciate it. I mean, whatever. It's all good. Tammy's done a great job. She's been more of an information officer than a Board of Health officer with every restaurant in this town. She's probably fielded at the beginning 20, 25 calls a day from nervous restaurateurs that just didn't want to make the wrong decision. So I don't think anyone's upset at the Board of Health, but it would be a nice Christmas gift next year if you gave a little percentage off. Absolutely. And does it affect our budget? At this point, our budget's every which way but loose anyways. It's just where we are today. So it's just one more piece of the puzzle. That's all.
Doug?
I agree with Joe. I mean, I think it's a symbolic gesture, and I think it's probably best to be uniform with it. Just, recognizing that every business kind of struggled in their own way and had to adapt in a different way. Some businesses did lose a lot of seats, some didn't, some were bigger, some were smaller. Your fees are kind of proportionate, so you can take them down in a proportion, like you said, and just be uniform about it. I think it's a good gesture, and I agree, Jerry. I think, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a ton of dough, but it's kind, they're still going to be struggling going into the fall of this year, into the winter of next year, no doubt, right? We don't know what the vaccine rollout's going to look like and what the take rate's going to be and what measures are still going to be in place at that time. It seems like it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm with Joe. I would have done it last year, when we kind of asked. I think it would have been a more symbolic. I get it. So, but that doesn't mean you have to be, you can't be wrong forever. You guys are making the right decision now, so you can make it right in December.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said, that'll be up to the two of you. So I'll be out. So
There will be 3 board members.
I know.
Even though you won't be one of them, there will be three.
I will not be, no.
Do we have
But it's still
anybody who-
something you can vote on. Oh, well, as a matter of policy, since it's under discussion, you can set that policy now, right? So while you have that, your board may change and they could bring it up and vote on it again after the board changes, but you could also vote on it now and make the policy now.
Are you interested in doing that, Jane?
No, I haven't exactly gotten along. I looked at it, but I didn't do any calculations. So
Okay,
I didn't look at it in depth enough.
So,
I can wait. I mean, I would just think 50% across the board, but we can wait and decide when Jean looks at it.
okay, Gene, why don't you take a look at it for the next meeting? And we can vote on it then, is that okay?
I'll try.
And if you two change your mind, then, if you guys change your mind after, that's the new board's decision. But we probably will hold.
So Tammy, will you put this on? Are you frozen, Tammy? Are you there? Or
No, she's here.
will you put this on your calendar so that we can remember to do this when Jessica sends the letters out in the fall?
I'll make sure I remember.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, I'll remember because I mean, I like to just as part of my renewal season, look over everything every year and before everything goes out. So.
Has anybody not paid?
There were a few, but I've been in contact with them and they're gonna be coming in, so.
Okay,
And there were reasons, legitimate
Alright.
reasons, so.
however. Okay, Peter, you have any questions?
Yes, sorry, I got in here late. When will the Board of Health be receiving the first shipments of those 100 vaccines? Or is that not known yet?
Don't know.
Okay, but that's the plan, at least.
That's how many the local municipalities are only allowed to request 100 doses at a time.
Okay, gotcha. And so we're kind of looking at the differences between how different towns handle reporting cases in school. Like for Westfield, they only report it to people who are close contacts of cases. Obviously, for you guys, you're a little bit more transparent than that. But what kind of how do you guys make the decision to report certain cases in schools? Like how do you make decision to like how wide to report it, if that makes sense?
We don't. That's the school department.
Is that still okay? Gotcha. Okay.
Doesn't Kate get the information from the state on who's positive in town, whether they're in
Yeah,
school
but
or-
the school, when the school sends their message out every time that there's a positive person in the community, that's the school that does that.
Okay.
And then they have a if they have a running there's a spreadsheet on the school's website that keeps a tally, I guess.
So our cases have not gone down like the states have gone down.
No.
And so just to make sure I'm getting my math right, so that's 430 cases you said total now?
Hold on.
I think that's what you said.
That's
For-
correct.
Yes.
So that
430.
So is that 45 in the last week? That makes this past week the worst so far, doesn't it?
It's 64 in the last 2 days, so I don't know in the last 7 days. Or the last 2 weeks.
I think on the website, the January 29th posting said 385 was the last total for
Okay,
last
now
week.
we're at 4 what?
430?
Oh, yes, you're right. It's
That's-
385.
It's 45.
So that makes this the worst week. Are there any clusters to speak of? Because it seems like cases are going down pretty much everywhere else.
Without Kate being here, I really don't know.
Gotcha.
I think it's-
Okay.
Peter, I think it's a matter of who gets tested when and when the state reports it.
Oh, is there like a backlog of unreported cases? Okay.
I think there was had to have been a backlog because it was very slow, like early last week to mid last week. which made us all think that it was getting better. And then it was within a day, I think everything just piled back onto us.
Okay.
This is just my plea for everybody this weekend.
Locked down.
No parties at their house, people they don't see all the time. And, you know,
Yeah.
no parties over 10 in their houses, and be responsible, and no sharing beverages, and
Even
double dip.
10, even 10's a lot. It just takes one person.
It
to do
does feel like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. When they test for variants, does anybody know how they determine which positive person they should test for a variant?
No.
Anybody know that? I mean, is it because of the contact tracing, or is it just random?
I think it's Sentinel Labs. Like, I think they kind of like with the flu, like I think different places are chosen. I think that might be how it goes.
And would they do it if someone just walked into like MedExpress and got tested, or would they do it on a hospital case? I mean, who would they? Is it a blood test? Is it just a swab? Is it? And I'm clueless. Sue, Tammy, anybody have an answer?
I don't know. I mean, I know we've had the Mass Department of Public Health has asked for certain data from some of our positive patients, but not a sample or anything. I don't know how I don't know how they choose.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Well, don't get it. It's no fun mentally. Eileen and I have recovered, but it was a long 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hoping that we weren't going to spike a fever or not be able to breathe. I mean, we talked to Kate and I asked her, what kind of symptoms were going around. Tammy, I don't know if she spoke to you at all, but we just had head congestion, a slight cough, and we were lucky enough to get the antibodies, which really worked. So, but the mental stress is just almost too much to bear. It really is. So stay safe, please. Okay. Anything else, Peter?
No, that was all I had for tonight.
Jessica, anything? Joe, Doug,
Nope.
ladies?
All set.
no.
Thank you, Tammy. Okay, we'll get that budget tomorrow. I get a motion to adjourn to the 18th.
Motion to adjourn to,
Second. Jerry,
yeah.
yes.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sue, you have
I
something?
was actually wondering whether or not that week we could do it the week after. I forgot about that. If maybe we could have one like the
25th.
Is that
25th.
vacation week? Is that it? Are you going?
Yeah, it is vacation week.
Are you going away, or is it?
I don't think it would be prudent to go anywhere, so I will just staycation and take my meetings from home.
Go somewhere warm, like the living room or something.
You think that's warm right now?
Is Thursday not a good day? Because I don't feel comfortable going 3 weeks. But is Thursday? Was Wednesday better?
What if we meet tomorrow? What if we meet next week?
Would that work?
That
What if
work,
we go
Gene?
next-
I'm not sure about the 11th right now, but you two can meet.
Yeah. Why don't we plan on the 11th, and then we can skip the 25th. So we'll do that. Sue, is that okay with you?
Yeah, so we'll do,
Skip the 18th.
Yeah, we'll do it next week. Then we skip
what's
the
next
18th.
week? What's the date next week?
11.
11. And then we'll meet.
I would greatly appreciate that, just to have some
We'll
family
meet next
time
week,
that
and then we'll go to the first week in March.
And then next week, and then the 25th, and then
25th.
the first week in March. So we're
Yeah.
doing an extra meeting.
We'll do an extra meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
So next
Gene,
week will
if
probably
you
be a
can-
short meeting.
Yeah. it'll
Yeah,
be
okay,
short.
can't tell you right now.
You don't have to.
The
You're
11th, I
here.
don't think is going to be possible for
How
me.
Okay.
about the 25th?
So far, the 25th is open.
So even
Okay.
if we just touch bases next week,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
all right.
Okay, we'll give you the 18th.
and then
Okay.
you'll-
Okay.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Now,
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wait a minute,
Okay.
Tammy, are you going to take the whole week off or what's your plan?
I'll probably just take the whole week off, but if I have to do some inspections, I'll just come in for that. Nothing, I mean, but
Okay.
just to, I've been taking a vacation since I started.
And
This-
you're entitled.
Well, didn't you know that there's no vacations?
During a pandemic, it's in the contract.
Yeah.
it'll be like work. I'm gonna call it work light. There'll
That's
still be
fine.
the
Don't worry about it.
and
And we'll just get somebody to
Yes.
cover and we'll.
I
the
appreciate
town
that,
will
guys.
survive.
Okay, so next Thursday,
Next Thursday, it's.
Next Thursday.
you may not be able to make it.
Right.
I'll just make sure that on Monday, Tuesday, I'll send out the meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
Do it that way.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
For a
all in
second
favor?
time.
Yes. Okay, everybody stay safe.
Okay,
Watch the
have a
game
good
by yourself.
night.
Good night,
okay.
everybody.
Thank you.
Night.
Night.